Ruqya is of 5 or 6 types. I didn't want to burden, so I put only 5 on the graph. But I'll tell you how there are 6. You could possibly do Ruqya with 6 different things. And when people read the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Ruqya, amulets, and things that are hung are shirk. Okay, that is a general statement that intends a specific kind of Ruqya. What's the proof of that? The Messenger ﷺ himself uses Ruqya. And he said to, I believe it was Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ أَنَّهَا رُقْيَةٌ, meaning Surah Al-Fatiha. And what did Abu Sa'id al-Khudri do? A group of Sahaba went out. It was raining. They sought to be hosted by a tribe there. The tribe said no, so they left. The tribesmen came running afterwards and said, oh, come back. Our chief has been bitten by a scorpion. So what did he do? They didn't have medicine back in those days. They didn't have ointments, so he did Ruqya. Now, why am I saying that? We believe that Ruqya is a certain cure. Allah Ta'ala himself says the Quran is a cure. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاء وَرَحْمَةٌ. We reveal from the Quran that which is shifa. Okay? Even all the Quran can be used as Ruqya, but certain ayahs are more priority than others. That's why it says وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, from amongst the Quran. Clearly, if two people having a problem, if anyone's sick in any capacity, you're not going to say at-talaqu marratan. No one ever uses that. Divorce is 2 times, and then the third divorce mentions the third divorce after that. Nobody says that's a ruqya, as an example. But the Quran in general, all of it is a shifa in general. Okay, but some verses are should be more selected over others. So he recited Surah Al-Fatiha, then he put from his spittle. He spit on it. The front part, the saliva at the front, he spit on it. Why? Because it's mingled with the recitation. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, how do you know it was a ruqya? The Prophet ﷺ did ruqya upon himself. The Prophet applied blowing, reciting Quran, blowing in his hands, then rubbing over his body. The Prophet ﷺ recited over water, then poured the water on a person. All this is ruqya. The Sahaba, it is narrated from the Sahaba that they would write verses of Quran, wrap it, and put it on the neck of a child. هذه رقية, right? And it's a tamima. The hadith says, الرقى والتمائم shirk. So how when he's doing shirk? So he's going to explain. The ulama are going to explain to us this, because the Prophet says something in general and it means a specific thing. Next subject. Imam Malik himself, he used to hang an ayah in his house. What was that ayah? From Surah Al-Kahf. وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتِكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. So he used to hang مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, his ijtihad, that this is barakah, to hang on the house, and the Quran is all barakah, brings blessing and keeps away shayateen. The Prophet ﷺ sought refuge in the words of Allah. Not the meaning of the words of Allah, not the understanding of the words of Allah, not the action upon the words of Allah, the words themselves, spoken or recited. So now the answer is, what the Prophet ﷺ was referring to in this hadith was specific ruqya that utilizes idols and kufr of the jahiliyyah. Okay? And that was what was known at the time. Okay, hence he spoke about it in this general manner, and the ulama will all tell you this. Now, ruqya from Quran and dua is permitted, with even hanging it and in reciting and putting it in a necklace and wrapping it up. And the Malikiyya say if it's one ayah or 2 ayahs or a word, it doesn't need to be wrapped. Therefore, someone has a necklace that says Allah or MashaAllah, as long as it will be protected from harm, tucked in if needed. If you go somewhere inappropriate, tuck it in. That's okay. But if it's a lot, like لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن, all the way down to end of Surah Al-Hashr, or all of ayats, multiple ayat, then you should wrap it in any wrap, provided in any way that will protect it from harm. That's the illah. The illah, or the legal cause, protection from harm. If it's kufr and idolatry, as we're on the red one here, the red box, then immediately that is forbidden. On top of that, it results in kufr. Kufr is not necessarily a ruling it is, we all understand what it means when someone says it's kufr. So we say it's forbidden, resulting in kufr. You could do something forbidden, it results in kufr. Okay, to be more accurate, we put it that way. That means the moment you are fully aware that there is idolatry, paganism, you're hanging an idol, and you know it's an idol, or somebody tells you, here is a prayer to Vishnu, wrap it around your neck, hang it on your wall for protection. The moment you willfully do that, is this not known in religion by necessity? It is 100% known in religion by necessity that this is kufr. The moment that person does that, their marriage is dissolved, all their good deeds are not, they're not considered Muslims. They must make tawbah and retake their shahada and redo their marriage. Let's go to the third one. Halal and effective ruqya. Now, why is it that Imam al-Ghazali categorizes al-ruqya as ad-dawa al-wahmi? It is wahmi. Wahmi means it's speculative. So does he mean by that ruqya is not a cure? When the Quran tells us it's a cure, and the Prophet tells us it's a cure, and he did it and said to do it. So what Imam al-Ghazali means by wahmi in Ihya Ulumuddin is that you cannot quantify it. I cannot do a scientific double-blind experiment using ruqya, because ruqya not only does it is it words, yeah, that we can measure, but it has to do with the iman and the heart of the one reciting it too. So if it's just words, then whether a prophet does ruqya or a regular person does ruqya should be the same. But it's not just words. It has an impact on your heart, your heart has an impact on it, sorry. And we can't quantify that. So from the aspect that it's not quantifiable, therefore Al-Ghazali says in terms of tadawi, the stronger medicine from the aspect of quantification and study and examination is regular medicine. Honey, a teaspoon of honey. We can experiment. You got sick and you took this much. Next person has the same sickness, it took a little more, right? So on and so forth. However, these people do their experiments. Okay? So there is halal ruqya. Halal ruqya is any method using halal words. It's not Quran. Neither Quran nor kufr, just halal. Using certain words that have proven to be effective. Okay? And the clearest and most obvious is someone who's down. That's not a sickness per se, but someone who's down. What picks him up? Good words. Someone who's down, now I give you some confidence. Man, you're doing a great job. Oh, this is like ruqya. It's almost like I'm curing your anxiety. I'm curing your being down. That's halal to do, right? It's halal. So using words that are halal and effective is permitted. Words or objects that are not kufr now, but don't work. We know they don't work. That is haram on account of being superstition and imitating pagans, and all it requires is tawbah. It does not require retaking your shahada. So for example, you come in upon a people and they say, here, when you're going out, put a rabbit's foot on for good luck, for safety. All right, hang this upside down horseshoe. Hang a horseshoe in your house for safety. So we ask a question: Is this an idol? Is it kufr, or is that a mere superstition from culture? That's the question. That's the tafsil. Some people, they don't make tafsil. They just blanket everything. All right? Yeah, it's easier, but it's also wronger, right? It's not correct. You have to make tafsil. Otherwise, you're going to make takfir of someone who's not a kafir. So if somebody says, take this, it's halal, it's just a rabbit's foot. And they have a belief about it. But it's not an idol, and it's not kufr. So we say about it, we're not making takhfif of it. Just to say something is not kufr does that mean it's not haram? Zina is not kufr. So when I say, hey, zina is not kufr, zina is not shirk, if a person takes that and says, oh, you're saying it's halal, then you don't have a brain. Astaghfirullah, I'm sorry to say that, but you don't know how to listen. You shouldn't take it it's not by emotion. It's by the words. It is haram to do superstition in Islam. It's more haram to pay for it. It's haram to charge for it. All of it's haram. If you do something in Islam, you're going to either have a scientific or demonstrable reason to do it. Or you're going to have a rational reason to do it or a shara'i reason to do it. But to have none of these three reasons and to still do it, that's ultimately what superstition is. And superstition is unlawful in our religion, which includes that blue stone. Which, as I said earlier, any of these things, if you go and show, oh no, it's actually an idol in the Native American tribe, it's an idol in the Anatolian tribe, it's an idol amongst these people, then it shifts. Because you rule upon something based on what you know about it. Right? Secondly, then you have that which I didn't include here, but it's in the middle, which is something some people say it works and some people say it's superstition. And if you're trying, by the way, valid ruqya, you can charge for it. The Sahabi charged for it. Valid halal ruqya. That means you want someone to come to your home, drive over there while you're sick, do a whole recitation upon you, take an hour out of his day. He can charge you for that, right? The Sahabi, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, charged for that. All right, let's get back to this. Between the halal and that works and the halal that doesn't work. In that case, they haven't decided yet what it is, right? And if you're just trying it to see if it works as medicine, you can try it. Now we get to the final category, unknown words and objects. Unknown words and objects, we go by the fatwa of Imam Malik on that. It could be kufr, therefore it's haram. And the later books, they made a tafsil on that. That would take us to 7 categories. Unknown words and objects that are proven to work. So Ibn Arafah on the Malikiyah, he says anything that is proven to work cannot be kufr, because Allah will not heal sicknesses with kufr. That's his ijtihad. Malik said mutlaqan, absolutely, whether it's proven to work or not, we don't use it because it could be kufr. Now Ibn Abbas tells a story of a Yahudi who had a jinn. And the jinn would make people sick, then give them his own ruqya, and then tell the jinn to come back and stop making the people sick. So the ulama said, well, then it's not a real sickness. So that doesn't count, all right? Ibn Mas'ud's wife was wearing a string necklace. Halal, right? Is it haram? A string necklace is haram? It's not haram. He said, what is this? She said, I have a fever and someone gave me this string necklace, says it's a ruqya. It'll make you better. He took it off. He said, we don't need this shirk. So that contradicts what we just said, because it's halal to have. They thought it was effective. He says it's shirk, right? No, what Ibn Mas'ud meant by that is it is imitation of shirk. What's the proof? If it's shirk, then she committed shirk, then he would have to retake her shahada and redo their marriage, and which he didn't do. Okay? They would have to be tafriq between them right away. You can't even touch her at that point. They can't take it off her necklace. She's a mushrik at the spot, right? We all know the Buddha and the cross is a symbol of another religion, right? You walk into your house, this is not going to happen. We're talking hypotheticals, inshallah, it never happens. You walk into your house and one of your family members has now, let's say your wife, has a Buddha on. You got to lower your gaze. On the spot, you got to lower your gaze. People don't understand remember the other day we said some people think shirk just means bad, right? It just means haram.
Remember I sent you the articles for that?
Yeah. And some people think when you say it's not shirk, that means it's halal. SubhanAllah. Zina is not shirk. A guy who goes to the club, skips Salat al-Isha, drinks all night, commits zina, does every drug in the club, skips Salat al-Fajr on purpose, laysa b'shirk, right? But this committed major sins. So you got to... yeah, exactly. So you got to understand, to use something halal and effective is permitted in ruqya. All the time people do, they sort of psych themselves with words. I don't know if it's effective or not. That's what ruqya is, where we can't pinpoint if this is what is actually happening. It's words, right? So where it's makruh, could be halal, could be haram. The discussed is something halal that some people say works, some people say doesn't work, right? And I gave the example of that. The stone, certain rocks that people wear around the wrist. It's not scientifically proven whether or not it actually absorbs moisture and decreases arthritis pain or not, right? We can't say it's scientific. Therefore, it's within the realm of ruqya. Anything that is not scientifically studied or cannot be scientifically studied will enter the realm of ruqya. At that point, that culture, through trial and error, will come to an agreement, over time a consensus, whether or not it actually works, right? Or it doesn't work. Here's the thing. All of what we're discussing is with the assumption that all power is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the only doer of things. The real doer of things. We're talking about tasabbub. Permissible tasabbuban. All right? Tasabbuban is the question. Tasabbuban means taking it as a means. For all of these things, for every single one of these things, if you believe that thing has absolute power, that itself is a whole nother subject, and that would be shirk, kufr billah. If you explicitly state, yeah, I believe it has absolute power.